Hello everyone, this is the GE Spacemaker in the size 24-inch. What I'm going to do is give you a brief and untechnical overview of the machine. So I don't have all of the names right, I don't have all the technical terms, it's just a simple overview so you can look at the machine up close if you're deciding to purchase it. Once again, this is the model that is the Spacemaker 24-inch in width. It's 27.4 inches in depth and it's 75 inches in height. This is one of the models that is basically referred to as a closet model because a lot of people choose to put these in tight closet spaces. That's why it's called the Spacemaker. It's really a space-saving washer and dryer. And you can see that we had a lot of clearance up at the top. We have about 90 inches of clearance. And you want to make sure when you're measuring for this machine that you do have all of your measurements correct so that you leave a little bit of wiggle room on the sides and also for any of the hoses and cords you might need. Ours are there. And I will take you around the back of the machine. The dryer on this one is 4.4 cubic feet and the washer is 2.3 cubic feet. Let me go ahead and open the dryer. I will give you more detailed information on the dryer and the washer when I do a load, but that's an inside look at the dryer. And let me do an inside look here at the washer. There you go. There is not a lid latch feature, so you do have to be a little bit cautious that it doesn't slam back on you because there's nothing to hold it in place. So it does come back kind of harshly. This machine is 11 wash cycles. Let me take you over to the wash cycles, turn it in the off position. But the one big thing with this machine is that it's an auto-sensing water feature, which means the machine is trying to detect the weight of your items and put in water accordingly. Unfortunately, it does a really abysmal job of that. No matter how much or how little you have in the tub in terms of wash, it never fills the tub with enough water. So even if you select what you think is the right mode, like whether it's a heavy load or a light load, you will not get enough water in the tank at any time. The only way to kind of circumvent that is to keep it at all times on the bulky items setting. If you just leave it there at all times, you will get enough water in the tank to do a load of laundry. And I'll show you what it'll look like if you started it on a regular cycle compared to if you start it on the bulky item cycle. And as you can see here, the numbers light up. If you want to make sure that those lights, if you want to make sure that those are off, you do have to set this into an off position. But then when you're ready to do your load, just always keep in mind to put it on the bulky items to get the most water in the tank. So the dryer, let me switch to that really quickly. The dryer does require venting. I don't know what you can see from here. It might say ventless, but it does require venting. In terms of noise, we do not find it excessively noisy. It does make noise, but nothing excessive, but that also might depend on where you place it and where you live. If you're in an apartment, for instance, there's not as many places to run and hide from the noise. If you're in a home, you can. And I want to draw your attention to something right up here. I noticed this little port connection. If you have something called GE Connect, we do not, but if you happen to have it, that's what that is for. I guess you can remotely monitor your device through wireless, but that's what the port is for, GE Connect. And then let me take you one more time into the tub. So even though it's an auto-sensing feature to get you the amount of water you need for the load, this is not Energy Star rated. It's energy efficient, but not Energy Star. It's a one-piece unit, so it's not in two parts, and I'll show you the back of it. And my one other tip, because you don't get enough water in the tank, is to use a liquid detergent instead of a powder because the water will not fill up to cover the clothing. If you're using a powder detergent, your clothing might end up with powder all over it. You can avoid that if you use a liquid. So what I'm going to do right now is take you around and show you the back of the machine, and then I will start a load on the medium normal cycle. There's a few other buttons for you. If you have any questions about this machine, you can always leave them in the comments below. So let's go take a look at the back. So this is the back of the unit right here. And as you can see, it's completely straight. There's no humps or bumps. It's just a single piece, a single unit. It's not in two parts, so it's not like a true stackable. There you can see the hoses and hookups, and we have a gas line. That's what the yellow cord is. And then around in the front right there, you can see the electrical. Down at the bottom, the black cord, it just needed a 3-prong electrical hookup. We placed it in a closet. Actually, it's a pass-through, and it's a vintage home, so it's an old pass-through that we have in the house. And then we wanted it so that the door could close cleanly behind it and hold the entire, hide the entire unit rather. But this is what the back looks like. So it's perfectly flat. And if you stick it in a closet or something like that, just make sure that you have room for those doors to close. So we're going to go ahead and start this load of laundry. Like I mentioned before, you're going to want to use liquid detergent, because if you don't, you run the risk that the powder will end up all over your clothes if you don't get enough water in the tank. So let's go ahead and lower the lid. Let me remove that out of the way. And we're going to start it on the, what I consider, it's a medium load. We're going to start it on the medium normal cycle. And then when the water loads into the tank, I'm going to show you how the water level looks. It's going to be very low, and then we're going to switch it over to bulky to get enough water in the tank. But let me start it on the medium so you guys can see what I'm talking about with not having enough water in the tank. So you turn it over to medium, press the start. You're gonna hear the water coming on and off, on and off. It's perfectly normal for it to make that sound. I'll try and get it to pick up that sound for you. That's as the machine is trying to figure out the weight of the items in the tub. So let's go ahead and start that, and I'll see if I can pick up the sound of it stop starting. So here's a quick look in the tank, and hopefully you'll be able to see that there's no water in it, at least no water coming up high enough to complete this wash. There's, you know, if you were in a traditional laundromat, you would have water well above that top towel there, and there's just no water in here at all. So definitely not enough to do a load. So what I'm going to do, what I advise you to do, because there's not enough water in there to complete the load, go ahead and mid-cycle switch this over to bulky items, close the lid again, and complete the wash, which is what we're going to do. So definitely you need to always keep it on the bulky cycle to get enough water. So let's go ahead and restart this load. There is no signal on the washer and dryer, so you have to just monitor the time on your own. You won't know when it's done. So let's go ahead and restart it using the bulky cycle. So it's starting to refill the tank now on the bulky items setting, and this will definitely get you enough water in the tank to wash a load. You know, start it on bulky to begin with and you won't have this trouble. You can also see how the water only trickles in from this small space here. If you were actually in a laundromat, most of the washers, the water comes all around the outer rim. So you're definitely getting a limited amount even on the bulky cycle, but enough to cover your clothes. So I've gone ahead and put a load of laundry into the dryer. Once again, it's a 4.4 cubic foot dryer, absolutely comparable to something you might find in the laundromat in the smaller size range. Over here you have your lint filter. It's just placed on the side of the door, and you can slide it in and out after every cycle, and it snaps into place. In order to get the door closed, you do have to slam it a bit, so let's go ahead and give that a nice slam. Over on this side, you have a lot of drying options. There's one called Optimum, but for our purposes, we just leave it on more dry. We have found that the more dry is the most effective for us. What I'm gonna do right now is start the machine so you can hear the sounds. Once again, thanks for joining me. This is the GE Spacemaker in the size 24 inch. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below.